One is going to be Barry Folk. The other one is definitively not Barry Folk. So here we go.
Listen to your segment on discipline. Over the years, I've spoken with others my age roughly. So I'm 55 as of December. So
Oh, happy birthday.
who had the Hot Wheel race car tracks and seriously popular in the late 70s and 80s. And we whoever had these, I don't say whoever, but many of the people who had these things, eventually got tore apart, laid around. But parents, many parents, I apparently discovered, found that these were very effective as a disciplinary tool.
Yeah.
And I'm really disliked them so much that my brother and I would collect them and we would throw them away once we realized what was happening because we weren't playing with them, the pieces were missing. So, when I go back to discipline, I can think of, I got, I deserved some of what I got, but not the Hot Wheel race car track. That was the devil's tool, man.
No
and
kidding.
made those go away as fast as possible.
As a kid, I wanted Hot Wheels and Hot Wheels race car tracks so bad. Wanted it all. And then I grew up, which I never had it. We were poor. I thought I was deprived, all this stuff. But then I hear those stories like was just told. And like, I did okay. I never got beat with the racetrack. So now here's the thing. Joe, we've talked about how I have a theory that Barry Folk and Devo are the same person. One of these buttons was Devo, the other button's Barry. Let's see what we got.
Hey, Charles and Joe, it's Barry. Hope you are doing well.
Well, okay, he said his name. So there goes that game. Thank you, Barry. All right.
Hey, Charles and Joe, it's Barry. Hope you are doing well. Just wanted to send along a note about one my dad experienced, which is the adoption of my daughter. You two know, but for others, 22 years ago, in 2001, we did an adoption, and we went to China to pick up our girl. She was 16 months at the time. Through a variety of reasons, we couldn't conceive biologically, so we looked at different options, and ultimately, for us, adoption was the path that we were led down. It is an absolutely amazing experience that most people don't get the opportunity to experience, but I would like to say that it is something that obviously is life-changing in many ways. To experience the process, to meet these wonderful counselors that helped us, to embrace a new culture into our family, meet the people, in this case of China, who wholeheartedly opened their hearts and literally their homes to us as we had the opportunity to visit China several times. It may be one thing politically, but the people of China are absolutely amazing, and will always be eternally grateful for what they have provided to making my family complete. So just wanted to share. As always, gents, take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barry. That was awesome. I had asked him to maybe share some of that story, and it's I find adoption to be a wild experience, and conceptually, right? You're putting parents who want to love a kid with a kid who needs parents, and I get that. I've at least been so self-aware because at some point my wife was like, I only want to have so many kids, but I could adopt. And after like the first kid, I was like, yeah, can't do that because I will damage because I was damaged. It's like, it's bad enough to have my own kids and I can work through the damage. It's like I'm self-aware enough that most of the time, by the time you adopt, they're at least 3 or older because the process takes forever, even if it's a newborn. I mean, and then the kids who really need the help, right, are 10, 11, 12, up through 17, 18, because everybody wants the new baby. And I was like, well, I know I have a lot of damage. I know that I'll go ahead. I think I sold myself short too, but I've always admired people who could adopt because I just always thought that I can't, because if I bring in somebody else with their own problems and their own history clashing with my own problems, I don't I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. But what about you two? What have y'all thought about adoption?
Did I don't know if you know this. My wife is adopted. Her
No,
and her
you're
brother.
married. That's different. You do not own her, Joe.
That's not how it works. No, they're my wife and her brother are both adopted. They were both adopted. They were under the age of 1 when they got adopted, and yeah, it's worked out very nicely. Both of them have since found their birth parents, or as Kelsey calls them, her bio donors. And yeah, we this was a few years back. Kelsey and I got some of those ancestry DNA kits just cuz, and we didn't even think, oh, she's adopted, we might find her birth parents, because I think she had looked for them once before, like half-heartedly, but not really since. And yeah, when we got the test results back, it said these people are close enough to be your parent. And she was like, Joe. So she showed it to me. She's talked to him a few times on Facebook, and she actually, so her bio donors, her bio parents, they actually got married like about a year after she was born. And so biologically she has 4 full siblings, sisters. And if I showed you a picture of them, you're like, yeah, no, they are definitely sisters. And so I don't think she's had any contact with her biological siblings, but she's talked to her bio parents a couple times on Facebook and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like they feel more like a relative that you talk to occasionally rather than anything more substantial. Like, her parents are her parents. And like, there's no, these are my adopted parents. No, these are my parents. And that's why she doesn't even like using the term biological parents. That's why she calls them bio donors, because they're not her parents. Not really.
I get
So
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good stories that way. What about you, Songheart?
Well, personally, I really admire people that have it in them to adopt. I like the idea of adoption. I myself was an only child, so I always wanted a lot of kids, but I don't do well now that I am a parent myself. I don't do well watching other people's kids, mostly because I get
Right?
anxiety. If anything were to happen, I'm like, oh no. And just a lot of that comes from my ex and my ex's ex and stuff. But a lot of it also is I I wish I was more mentally healthy enough to adopt. Kind of like what you were saying, Charles. Like, I have my own trauma and I don't want to inflict that on other people. um other on children. I inflict it on grown-ups all the time. um um and a lot of my trauma I couldn't help when I had my kids. It was just what the circumstances were at the time. But if I could have done it differently, I would have waited to have my children until I was older. I love my kids to death and I would never change having them. But as far as like adoption goes, adoption's a big step. And kind of like what Joseph was saying, I found, because I've met people that are adopted and I've read a lot of stories about people that are adopted. For the most part, people that are adopted are their parents are their parents, not their bio donors are not their parents. And so I think that's really an admirable thing for people to be able to know themselves well enough to open themselves up to become parents to other people.
I love it. That's very well said. Random kid says, it went away. What happened?
Here, I popped it up. Oh,
Thank you.
There you go.
I hate how expensive adoption is. I wish good parents could adopt without needing to spend thousands of dollars. Yes, but also that's how much it costs to raise a kid too. Just because you get to skip a few levels, man. That's
Yeah.
the season pass, right? They're just buying 20 more levels of the season pass to get that 4-year-old
Babies are
$4,000.
so expensive.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but I actually agree with Random Kid on this one. They're also saving the government money by adopting because they're not going to keep them in. They're not going to keep taking care of them past that.
They should make it easier. I 100% agree.
Now there should definitely be a vetting process for the parental candidates. 100%.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the barrier to adoption is so crazy high. There's a reason why you hear all these different adoption stories, and it's getting kids from other countries. And it's because the US, it's such a convoluted process, a convoluted and expensive process.
It's not just that it's a convoluted and expensive process. It's that there are unsavory people that will adopt children to be mules and things like that for unsavory things.
It makes me think of
that's not just conjecture. I actually knew someone that went through that. So yeah,
it makes me think of the Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen "It Takes Two" movie,
that was a great movie
where she got adopted by the butt kisses.
Yep.
I don't think I know that one, but that's fun.
It was a fun movie.
It was a very fun movie. It was Parent Trap-esque.
It was very Parent Trap-esque.